Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a wonderful Friday evening where we will be casting for you today this Top Dog EU League. With me is my co-caster, the Mish King.
What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good start to the weekend. TGIF, Ryder.
Absolutely, TGIF indeed. I believe amen is the correct response, am I right?
Oh, yes, amen to that, my friend. And doesn't matter what creed you're from, man. End of the day, it's always great to, have a Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that Friday, towards the 5-6 hours, and then it's amazing. And then, you get to have some dinner, you lay back, and it's like, you know what, I think I'll tune into twitch.tv/Thunderdog Esports for some of that sweet, sweet Team League action. Today we have Darkstar versus Alloy eSports. It's going to be awesome, because Darkstar is actually only 2 points behind Love Your Girlfriend in the rankings for top place. So if they can take a convincing win, then they might actually top the charts.
Yeah, man. I mean, Love Your Girlfriend gave them a tough time last week. I believe that Darkstar only scored 2 points, if I'm not mistaken, in that 5-game series.
Mm-hmm.
And Love Your Girlfriend, they're a very, very strong team. So even if Darkstar do get the points today, Love Your Girlfriend will still be a threat, though.
Yeah. This will probably have to be decided next week when we will have the last week of the Top Dog EU League. And then that's where I imagine the swords will meet in battle, and the ultimate victor will be determined. We'll get that sweet prize of all them exposures. We're currently sitting in a lobby, and we have the first 2 players already. It is going to be Alloy's Forseer, who is a Protoss player, against Darkstar's Multi, who is also a Protoss player.
Yeah, man, and honestly, I would expect Stargate play. He's more of that kind of Protoss which likes to go airborne, be free like the birds in the air. So, yep, that's a possibility from him. He could change it up though, because that is pretty much his staple way of playing. Like, he doesn't really deviate from that particular playstyle at all. So, could prove to be his downfall in this game, or it could prove to be his ace in the hole, as he could just mind game his opponent.
Yes, and do you know if he tends to go for Phoenixes or Void Ray styles more?
More along the lines of Phoenixes. He has dabbled in Oracles. He might actually bring out some Oracles, because Oracles have recently been buffed in this last patch, so they're pretty much permanently on Nitrous Oxide. But I'd still say he'd go for Phoenixes, because to him I feel he just loves Phoenixes because they're kind of more consistent in terms of what you can do with them. You can pretty much keep your opponent at bay as well for the longest time, and you could also lift up those Immortals down the line, or those Stalkers, and turn the tides of battle in your favor.
Absolutely. And, there's nothing worse than that feeling when you're, I'm going to go for an Oracle, and your opponent opens up Stargate and with a Phoenix, and then your Oracle just dies, and that's a very, very sad moment. Alright, we're getting ready for the first game between Alloy and Darkstar. Place your bets now! And, there's actually something I'm secretly hoping for that may or may not come to fruition. I'm hoping to see a particular player in a PvT, but we'll see if that happens or not. Right now we're going to go into this PvP on Belshire Vestige Ladder Edition. Here's that leader video. And in the bottom right corner of Belshire Vestige, we have our Protoss player from Team Alloy. It is Forseer.
Yes, and his opponent, playing for Team Darkstar, sporting the green trunks, we have none other than Multi. And getting back to that particular player that you mentioned, I don't need Neuroparasite to know who you're talking about, but let's just keep the fans on their toes for now and keep them wondering that who the hell are we talking about right now? Who is Darkstar's particular player that titillates us?
Yes, who is this mysterious guy? And hopefully we'll get to cast some of him. Actually, I was thinking of trying to get in touch with him after this tournament is over to try to get some of them sweet replays.
Yeah, man.
I just can't get enough of that style.
It's very unique. It's very unique.
It is absolutely.
Yeah, at the highest level to see that style work as well, because we both know that it's a style which can work, but getting it to work, finding the missing link, it's difficult. It's difficult to say the least. But we have a major deviation from here. Multi has gone for quite a delayed gateway. Well, in the big scheme, the great scheme of things, it is quite
Force-Seer
delayed.
gateway is just so early. I think it was an 11 gateway actually. He chrono boosted and got it up so fast.
Look at Multi. He scouts his base with that one probe. He checked the corners. He was suspecting that there might be some cheese. And no cheese so far, so right now he's going for the double gas. I have a feeling that he's going to go for that tech ply.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking like he will honor the style that you predicted he would go. Probably going to go in that Stargate, as you said, and that's going to be pretty strong in general, but of course there is a bit of an opportunity here from Malloy's Force-Seer to go for some aggression with this early gateway and Cybernetics Core. His Cybernetics Core is almost halfway done, and the Cybernetics Core of Multi only just started.
Yes, indeed. And Multi's entire build just seems to be off to me, because I just feel that a panic bell just started ringing in his head, and he had to just scout and see, wait a minute, do I need to throw down 2 gates? Can I go with my normal style? And it's he checks everything out, figures out there's nothing coming. So in a way, whether Force-Seer is known for cheesing or something in this particular matchup, he could have ended up just mind gaming his opponent. And Multi's build, although it's delayed, Ryder, he does still have the defender's advantage.
Yes, definitely. Just if you look at the little progress bars on the Stalker here in the top right, top left, I'm sorry. Even though Force-Seer Stalker is definitely ahead, the Stalker of Multi is being both chrono boosted and it's gonna be here. So there's not really too much of an opening. Of course, Force-Seer does have an extra Zealot there, and he has 2 additional gateways, so he is absolutely going to put on some pressure. Going to expect this probe to put down that pylon.
And Multi did have a pylon set up at the back of his base. He does have the 2 gates. And I expect that we'll be seeing some tech being thrown behind the mineral line. And now he's just going to play the kiting game with this one Zealot, although the probe will join in. And a probe and a Zealot, it doesn't seem daunting at first, but it actually can be pretty annoying because the probe is actually about the same speed as a Stalker, but it looks like the double probe's really nice. Oh, what?
Force-Seer wants very much for one of these pylons to finish. Actually, this might just be a ruse to try and draw the fire.
That is indeed a distraction, but the thing is, he's invested quite a lot, and he could actually, cancels it in the end, needs to cancel this other one. No! Gets the pylon on the high ground. This is huge, and right now, Multi needs to clean up this pylon on the high ground because those additional gates will kick in, and one of the Stalkers, it's dangerously low, Ryder.
Absolutely, and there's no Mothership Core out here for Multi, and all of the probes are coming off the line. This is a desperation move. Multi is not confident he will hold this. Hope gets a nice surround on the Stalker. And right now, Multi is in a good defensive position, but he has to deny, pretty much these high ground pylons because they're giving Force-Seer an immense offensive advantage.
Yeah, and there are just so many pylons. He needed to clean up the pylons on the high ground, chose to just go for a walk to remember, and right now, it's just the gateway advantage will start to snowball for Force-Seer, and this is not a good situation for Multi to be in.
It is absolutely not. He's doing his absolute best trying to micro his heart out, but there's 2 Zealots, there's a superior Stalker count. At least there is now. And this just looks...
another thing, which I feel that would have cost, could have been one of the reasons why Multi lost the game, is the fact that he skipped the Mothership Core. Sure, his opponent did, but Multi skipping that crucial Mothership Core, not having the amount of production.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. There's some corners which you just don't want to skip, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah, and it seems like on one hand, Multi was trying to cut some corners to make his build work, and on the other hand, he was trying to be very safe as well by getting, by getting the big scout around with that probe, getting the second gateway, I think, before he actually saw that his opponent went for any sort of an aggressive play. And it just seems that these 2 ideas of trying to be safe and cutting corners, they clash very much. You can do either, but you can't do both.
Yeah, I mean, if you try and do both, that's like you're trying to bake your cake and eat it at the same time, and we all know that a half-baked cake just tastes terrible.
Yeah, you're
So,
gonna burn your mouth, especially.
oh yeah, oh the cake will like fall flat, right? Like it sinks or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And if you try to eat it while it's still in the oven, that's mouth burn waiting to
Jesus.
happen, man.
Yeah, man, that is mouth burn, and just try to explain mouth burn at the ER. What, sir? What? Oh my goodness, we need to get the psych guys in. This poor guy, he hurt himself, so he's like so yeah, that won't end well. Unless you have one of those big screen phablets. So you can
Uh,
just type on the phablet that you idiots, I burned my mouth.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody has a phone or a tablet these days, so
Yeah.
that's actually a lot more realistic these days.
Yeah, it's like that was one of my ideas for Germany. Like if I can't communicate properly with somebody, I'll just like use my phablet and Google Translate for the win. Even though Google Translate is really bad though. Like the way it structures the syntax
Yeah.
sometimes is just terrible.
It depends on the
like-
language, though. For some languages, it actually works pretty well. Like Dutch
Yeah.
to English tends to work pretty well. Like you get some sentences that make sense, but for a lot of other languages, it might not work as well. Which is, of course,
Yeah.
what you get when you mix wildly different grammar and structure.
Yeah. It's like although to be honest, when I translate German to English, I tend to get the correct sentences. It's when I translate English to German, I think that's when things go horribly wrong because it tries to structure it the same way. And it's just like, what are
Doesn't
you
work.
saying? What are you saying? Oh no. Nicht gut.
Ah, sehr
Yep.
schlecht. So we're going to take a quick little break, get you some nice tunes to play. We actually have some new music for you. It's going to be pretty good. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more awesome games.
Chaos is just somehow saying the very familiar fact that everything's complicated.
Suddenly, the door was open. Suddenly, we could see.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. We are going to go into game number 2. And we have today a ZVT between Darkstar's Prospect as the Zerg and Alloy's Lunar as the Terran player. We are all ready to go. You can hear it in the background.
Indeed. It's going to be a good game, Ryder. It's going to be a good game. Prospect being the ace player for Team Darkstar. And Luna, by the looks of it, he doesn't look like any slouch either. I haven't really seen any of his games, but I've got a feeling, man. And you know what? I get a feeling.
I get a feeling. Do, 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 do. You can't believe it?
Yep. That and also that tonight is going to be a good night.
Oh, right, that feeling. Well, that's a good feeling to have. So let's transfer that feeling into electric lightning as it strikes a Thunderdog logo. Alright, and at the top right corner of Derelict Watcher, we have our Alloy player in the pink trunks. It is our Terran player, Lunar.
Yes, and his opponent sporting the blue trunks, we have none other than Team Darkstar's Prospect.
So when you say that this is Darkstar's ace player, what exactly do you mean by that?
When I say ace player, I mean the MMA of Darkstar, the MVP of Darkstar, the head honcho. Although Darkstar does have a lot of strong players, this guy is like the godfather, man. He's like the Nestea of Darkstar. And yep, he's not a slouch, man. He's not a slouch. But the question is, which type of prospect will we see here today? We've seen all kinds of prospect in the past. I've seen the prospect which goes out with like really softly, as we say in cricket, a soft dismissal. Or will it be the guy which like goes kicking and screaming into the night and takes a victory?
That will be the question. We're going to see how Lunar is going to stack up. Actually already doing a very curious, very early barracks with a very, very early gas geyser. This is, I think this is a 10-10, if I'm not mistaken, or 11-11?
Well, I can't really give you the exact timing because I was kind of busy giving my analogy of Prospect, but I do believe you'll see some super fast Reaper action, maybe even 2 to 3 Reapers if I'm not mistaken with this, because there should be enough gas, right?
Yeah, you end up with a lot of gas. Actually, you can pretty much afford constant Reaper production and even have a little bit left. Now, Prospect did get a drone scout off very early. I'm not sure if he noticed that the timing of on the gas in the barracks was a little off to where it normally is. We're going to see if he did notice and if that's going to affect his play at all. I don't really think you need to. I think what this build does is it gets the Reapers out a little bit quicker, meaning that where normally your queens are done and you have a Zergling on the way, now you don't really have that. So a few more drones are going to die, and it's going to give Lunar a little bit more of an economic edge by doing that damage onto you. Especially if you're...
it's an annoying opening, to be honest, if you're a Zerg, because as you did
bunker.
say... Oh snap, things have to be pulled right now. That position is excellent. The drone can't even get in there. And oh snap, what is Prospect gonna do? The ball is in his corner, Ryder.
Yeah, he's not pulling any drones. I think he's suspecting that this is a bluff by Lunar, that it's just going to be there, but it's not a bluff. There's a lot of Reapers going to come in here, and this is going to do a lot of damage. The question is, will Prospect going for the hatch first? He's more or less committed to trying to save the hatch. Otherwise, it is going to have to be a one-base play. With these Reapers out, it's going to be very difficult.
To be honest, right now he want to try and make sure to mitigate as much damage to his main as possible. And once his 2 queens are out, I think he'll push with his lings and try and take down the bunker.
All right. Well, of course, because it's Reapers, you don't actually have that much DPS. So where normally this is very, very hard for a Zerg because he's almost certainly going to lose a hatchery if he manages to keep the bunker up. With the Reapers, that's not exactly the same way. So he does lose a few drones here. But so far, I actually think Prospect is doing a pretty amazing job of staving off this early aggression.
Yeah, and he needs to pull one of the queens from the natural. For a second, I thought those guys are going to go into the natural, and one of those Reapers, man, I could see the light, but fortunately for him, it's healing packs to keep it from going into it.
Oh,
and
and
both
again,
Reapers live.
this
well
is really
played.
good Reaper control, by the way.
Yeah, it's really good control from both these players because normally Alessa Zerg would have like collapsed under the pressure, and I think he only lost one drone.
He lost
Actually, no,
three.
three workers.
Yeah, three
Yep,
workers,
which
and a
isn't
Zergling.
bad.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's really, really good for Prospect. If we look at the worker count, we can see that he's ahead, and that's not a position that Lunar was hoping he would be in after doing this opener. Now he does have his command center and the barracks on the way, so this game is not over by a long shot. But I think he did hope to get a little bit more of this opener than he ended up getting.
Yeah, man. With that sort of opener, you'd want to kill off maybe like, well, dare I say, 10 drones. Dare I say, totally mess up your opponent's build order and mindset going into that mid game. But so far, Prospect is he's still chugging on ahead, and he's getting up his second gas geyser. He's already got speed nearly researched, and he's really geared up for that mid game play.
Yeah, absolutely. Even interrupting his gas mining for a while as his speed finished up. Actually, I was led to believe that this would mean he would go to a quick third hatchery, which, considering the positions, isn't actually that crazy. Although I say that, but there is, of course, three barracks.
It can't
and
be a
factory
pull.
production.
It can't be a pull. For a second, some stuff. This is really smart from Prospect, because in the current metagame, you'd normally expect a Zerg player to not be this aggressive, to have gone for the hatch first before sending all these units across the field, but it looks like Prospect lost quite a few units. He does see that there are 6 Hellions and a couple of Reapers, which is pretty standard. Needs to start making some units right now, Ryder, because right now he's kind of bare bones in terms of units on the field.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting a follow-up push by Lunar, but of course Lunar saving those Reapers means that this is a very, very strong map control play, I suppose. And it might actually turn into a little bit more, as these units of Lunar are not going to die anytime soon, and there's not a lot of units up for Prospect. As you say, 22 Zerglings going to come up. This is going to do a lot of damage. The question is how much.
Yeah, it's actually doing a terrible amount of damage in terms of all the creep tumors being picked off right now. There's that one creep tumor at the front, though. Oh, he's trying to make another one. No, cancels it at the best possible time. I think he kind of baited him in there. But right now the Ling production isn't really, it hasn't really reached critical mass. Right now Prospect is trying to go for that lair attack. He needs to get it. He also needs to get for his Carapace. He knows that he just needs to weather out the storm. And once he gets that third base running with those extra drones, he should be fine. But we do have that platoon of like Marines making its way across the field. I was so close to saying drones making its way. Imagine drones with little guns and helmets. That would be so epic.
Yeah,
but
this is a very unusual push by Lunar, who is normally you see like a Marine mine follow up, but he's just sticking to the Hellion production, doing excellent damage on all of these Zerglings, which is pretty much all of the Prospect's army at this point, minus the few Banelings that he has. And this could actually... This is a very, very strong presence, and not at all a very common play.
Oh, this is a very, very well-timed play right now. This is a very serious force barreling down Prospect's door, but he gets a nice surround there.
Good
and
connections on the Banelings.
A lot of damage against. Yep, and
this is
wow,
great
well
cleanup.
played.
Great
he
cleanup by
baited him in.
Prospect.
Yep, because Lunar, he got a bit too cocky there, too gung-ho. Was like, well, this is how I normally kill people, but Prospect was like, nope, getting a little bit closer, runs past him with the Lings, and could actually run in if he chooses to, but doesn't, as he knows that if he throws away this advantage, it could be quite detrimental.
Yeah, and if he throws away the Lings, then that's Lings he's going to have to make, and he's perfectly content just doing some droning behind this, trying to catch up on the economy that is being continuously disrupted by Lunar by forcing out all these Zerglings instead of drones. And only now the third command center comes up from Lunar, so it is pretty reasonably timed, but it just goes to show how aggressive he's been playing so far. And in terms of the worker count, it's actually been paying off. The difference between workers is negligible. It's a very cool style coming out of Lunar, not something you see a lot.
Yeah, I like this because it's like this is a style which, in all honesty, would kill a lot of Zergs. Like I think you would like concur with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I say that this is something that would the greedy style of Zergs, the Zergs which aren't really great with crisis management, it would kill them outright. But as we can see, Darkstar's prospect is just playing so very well. Not to mention, he's gotten up his creep spread. As we can see, that he's just keeping those creep Tumor Queens active as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sure, the south side is a bit bare-boned, but he's creeping towards his opponent, and this is excellent because it will buy him time to get out those additional units that he may need before an attack like this comes barreling down his door, as most Terrans have to clear their tumor before they can really move in.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course the creep functions as the early warning as well. He has the time to respond because, you know, he sees it in time, and that's really one of the other big assets that this creep spread gives him. And of course, making the Terran very wary of wanting to engage on the creep. Good surround, good mine hits, but it's not going to be enough. There's a lot of Zergling bailing in, and I think Prospect's going to be able to clean everything of this up.
Yeah, with the new changes to Widow Mines, they don't do as much damage as they used to, and I see that this particular Terran, he's more on the school of thought that a Widow Mine is still good. Well, not as much as they used to, bro. And it looks like Prospect senses weakness, and he's going for the kill.
Yeah, there's all of the walls are down, so we can just sort of run in here. There's a small mine force here, but there is an overseer with this army, so we'll know about that. Oh, all the
Winter's
Banelings,
coming.
all the Banelings
Winter
died.
has arrived. Oh, burst through. But not all the Banelings. They
Oh,
roll in.
amazing
Mass
connections!
connections.
Holy cow, that is a devastated mineral line.
That last one. Oh my goodness, even Michael Bay couldn't have directed a better hit than that. And it looks like a lot of everything is going down. Lunar's natural is in disarray, and he can't even land at the third. Sure, he's cleaned up this army for the time being. He has to mule, but guess what? There's a borrowed Zergling, and there is a Overlord spreading creep. So Luna, the ball's in his court right now, Ryder.
Yeah, I think Lunar was teetering on the edge of being fine and being in a... Ooh, there goes a Mutalisk to the mine. He was teetering on the edge of being fine in terms of his aggression and his economy, and being a little bit out of position, and the fact that that engagement at his front, at Prospect's front rather, went so well for Prospect, meant that the counterattack became a possibility. And that is, I think, the weakness with this style of play. Yes, he is perfectly fine as long as he gets to be aggressive. If that is shut down, then all of a sudden the tables can turn very, very quickly, as we've seen. And Prospect, of course... Epic decision-making, identifying that weakness immediately and going for the counterattack.
Yeah, man. If I was in Prospect's shoes, I would have gone for that fourth base, but I think he is sending a drone to secure it at the moment to the south. There we go. Fourth base is coming up, going for a macro hatchet as well. Knows that he's really far in the lead, but his opponent's army is still pretty scary. I mean, Marine's good unit. Not to mention, if he gets off a few good Widow Mine hits, the tables could turn in the favor of his opponent.
Yeah,
but
there's only
still,
one here. Yeah, and he realizes that's a troublesome position to be in, pulls back with
he's
everything.
like, nope.
He knows that Widow Mines aren't all they cracked up to be, so a single Widow Mine will not win you an engagement anymore. It's a little too bad, but that's how it is. This third of Lunar is still flying about because there's a Zergling there that he hasn't been able to clean up yet.
Yeah, because now he's realized that, damn it, I can't get the space up, and this is the problem when you become so aggressive. You need to secure your third faster. You need to just keep your economy chugging, because if it starts to stagnate, it just comes back. Yeah,
basically,
like
this happens. You can see there's only a few mineral patches, and they're pretty much mined out. Lunar is effectively on one base until this moment.
The third.
Ooh, that's a lot of Zerglings here that are going to do a lot of damage.
Oh,
There's no mines, there's no marines.
The Banelings are at the back.
Oh! Baneling landmines are in positions, get a good
Oh.
kill! Amazing connections on these other Banelings, and the Mutas swoop in, are going to try and clean up the rest of these marine forces, but there's a mine wall there. The third goes down for Lunar, and this is Prospect dismantling, and there's the F, which is probably some language for GG. Great pickup there.
I think we can both say that Lunar graded himself there, and he got himself an F. Gonna go into the third game super duper uber fast, I believe, Ryder.
Oh yes, absolutely. We get invited right away, and that's good because I like to not stop the action ever.
Yeah, man. Just do what Rihanna does, and please don't stop the music.
Indeed, and by music we mean StarCraft.
Yes, and also, no rest for the wicked, and you know that we're both pretty wicked. And apparently, I'm gonna go against Avocado.
Oh, this is gonna be good. I think Quirrell is a Protoss player, if I'm not mistaken. He was in here earlier. I should have seen it, but I didn't remember it. That's fine. A little bit of smack talk happening between one of the players and the Mish King, who is sure he can take him.
Oh, I could take him. I could take anybody, bro.
Can
you bro? Come at me, bro?
That's a matchup. That's a show match I would like to see. Casters v casters, v players v casters.
Yeah, in real life, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I want to see Apollo and Day 9 take on like Tasia and.
They'll do it easily because they've got like 50 pounds on them now.
Oh yeah.
Like basically, D9 would just pick up Apollo and just whack him a few.
He just goes swinging with Apollo.
Yeah, Apollo wouldn't mind because like Apollo's Apollo, man. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Actually, did you catch any of Home Series Cup last weekend?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit. Did you happen to see Apollo in control and Too Good casting together? Drunk.
Oh god. I think I heard that. I think I heard it was pretty epic.
Oh.
Like, people and like see that more. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, you went Mr. Roboto on us for just a second. Could you repeat that last, please?
I saw like a thread on Reddit about it, about people
yeah.
saying that they wanted to see it more.
Because really the only thing better than good analysis and interesting casting is completely inappropriate comedy between drunk casters. That's probably the best. And, In Control and Too Good are really good at that, and Apollo seems to have a knack for fitting in and adjusting to that situation. So it was really good fun. I'm hoping we get to see more of that. Home Story Cup I think it's probably one of my favorite tournaments at this point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like a really amazing tournament to look forward to. It's a tournament which, to be honest, we've had a bit of tradition, to be honest, with Home Story Cup, because we've seen it during the Wings of Liberty days. It was always kind of that tournament that people would slack off in. But it looks like, as far as production value goes, it's gone up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, as much as it used to be. Like, it used to just be like a LAN kind of thing, but we've got a lot of good sponsors, and Take's done a really amazing job with
they're doing an awesome job running it.
Yeah, and it's still very casual at the end of the day. There's the casting couch where we've seen MC do the pelvis thrusts. Oh, MC pelvis thrust, best thrusts, so good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's seriously very, very good.
All right, it's a TVZ coming up from between Darkstar's Avocado and Alloy's Quirrell. I'm going to see how this is going to unfold. Are you excited?
I am super excited, man. I was excited would be appropriate for the stream.
Yes, many excited.
I made you think for a minute.
Just a little.
Oh, only a little rider. Not very excited, bro.
Well, I'm Mundo excited, but I was hoping for a different matchup. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was hoping for a different.
Yes. I think we can let the cat out of the bag.
Yes.
As we go into the
I think we
game.
can.
Or should we let the cat out of the bag after we introduce the players?
Yeah, you know what? We'll just show everybody the Thunderdog eSports logo in all its glory, and then we'll go and introduce the players, and we'll talk a little bit about that little secret that we mentioned earlier. So that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
You gotta have a thing for this when it takes longer than the video.
Well, it can't be helped, right? Or it can't be helped. As of course, nobody can really estimate the time, so bear with us, folks. And we're in the game! Top left-hand side, Green Trunks, Darkstar's Avocado.
And in the bottom right corner of Star Station, we have, from Team Alloy, the purple Zerg player, Quirrell.
Ooh.
And indeed, the player we were talking about earlier was Darkstar's Avocado, and the reason we would have liked to see him in a different matchup is because in Terran versus Protoss, this player, plays mech, and he wins.
He's a legend. He is the Will Smith of StarCraft 2. He does things which he's like the last guy on Earth. That's the feeling you get when you see a Terran player going mech versus Protoss. Although you never know. I've heard that it's a thing which people may shift into in the future, and considering the changes with WCS, I think we might see people being more open to using it and like break away from the Korean meta. I'm gonna say, like, I don't want to sound like that guy which is like, well, there's only one meta and that's Korean meta. But back in the day, we used to see like different styles from different places in the world. Like, if I'm not mistaken, mutas were mainly used in Korea and America, infestors were a thing in Europe, I think, when it came to Zergs.
Well, in Wings of Liberty, it was everywhere, but...
Well, yeah, at the end of Wings of Liberty was like last year or
I
so,
think it is true that you saw it more with European Zergs in the earlier stages. You know, of course...
and, like, Destiny caught wind of it, and people started to use it, and then it was like, oh my god, this is so good, why didn't we use this from the beginning? So, yeah. I knew, oddly enough, when that became a thing, Idra's, like, his overall, like, win percentage went down.
Yeah, but Idra never changed in the Infestors, I believe. He was one of those players that stuck to what he knew, regardless of what the meta did.
Which is kind of sad, because that particular meta is kind of here and now in Heart of the Swarm. Like, you don't normally see people deviate from Mutalisks as much as they used to back in the day. Like, back in the day, the first part of Wings was pretty much the first part of Heart of the Swarm, where Mutalisku.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really only when Terran does something very unorthodox, like go mech themselves, that Zerg is forced to adapt and go for a Roach play or Swarm host play. That you don't really see it against the Biomine style.
Oh yeah, man. Like, with Biomine style, you gotta be mobile yourself. I've seen people manage to do it, though, with Roach Hydra Link. But that is a style which is... It's difficult to execute, to say the least.
It is very, very immobile, or at least a lot more so than Mutalisk Zergling Baneling. And the problem that you have is that the later the game goes, the poorer your composition scales in comparison to the Terran army. Terran Biowall has a lot of DPS for very little surface area, and with Roach Hydra, you don't really get that once you get to max. Then Terran has the better efficiency per square inch of battlefield, I say. So you really need to get a great concave, a great surround with your army in order to be able to get an equivalent exchange. And that just puts the Terran in a position where they can engage in a lot more places than Zerg can.
Yeah, it's like it becomes much more difficult for a Zerg player to actually like utilize, because in theory you can still make it work, because the DPS of Hydralisks are pretty darn good, and not to mention the Roach's armor is pretty thick. But once the Marauders come in, then the Roaches get mitigated quite heavily. Even with Stim, Roaches get mitigated quite heavily by Marines. Oh, nice catch over there! Nearly managed to pick them off. Talk about Ghost 2 Sense, man. He's like, nope, I believe you will be here.
Yeah.
So what are we seeing from Avocado? We got pretty much. Yeah, I think it's a pretty standard play. Yeah. I think he's gonna go the Muslim like play style, where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go for a 1-1-1, gets up the starport to complete the Trinity, and we should actually see a tech lab, if I'm not mistaken, from that barracks. And there's a possibility, Ryder,
of mech. Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing this.
Not just mech, but Banshees.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that's what the tag lab is for on the barracks. He's going to use the barracks to make that, so he can get that done immediately. The second gas.
9 Roaches, Ryder.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad decision at all. We're going to see how that's going to work out. Of course, the Hellions that Avocado's making aren't that great against the Roaches. Yeah, there we go. Another tech lab's going to come up. The fact... Yeah, I think this tech lab might actually be Avocado's saving grace. This is going to give him the opportunity to make some Marauders as he sees the Roaches moving in, but he's going to see it very, very late. It's going to be very tricky. He doesn't have any tanks up. He doesn't have a second factory to make, or a factory with a tech lab to make any of that. But with the Banshees up, I think that the attack already has a timer on it for Quarrel. It is really up to Avocado to try and mitigate as much damage until this push has been resolved by him. So it's not so much will this kill Avocado. It probably won't, but how much damage is it going to do before it sort of peters out.
This is all about how many SCVs can die in winter is coming. All the SCVs from the natural have been evacuated, barring one, I believe, which is like, I don't care, man, I'm doing it for the Dominion. And here comes the Roach train, goes into the main. A lot of these Roaches aren't really shooting, though, and a lot of them are taking a lot of damage, but it looks like one of the walls has been broken through. The Barbarians are in the base. And mind you, the Lings do not have speed yet, but this is going to be a while before Avocado can clean this up, and he is supply blocked, so he can't make anything. And right now, all the add-ons are being picked off, Ryder.
Wow, this is actually some great damage being done by Quirrell. Avocado's going to have to pull a lot of workers to try to, mitigate as much damage. I said he probably won't die to this, but he's taken so much damage that, if he doesn't clean up quickly, this might be just the equivalent of being dead. Of course, with 3 command centers, you can reproduce workers mighty fast, and he's actually not that far behind. He's only 4 workers behind at this point. And he has the 3 command centers. He's got his tech, he's got the 111 still down. So he's not gone by a long shot. Quirrell did do a lot of good damage, and is absolutely ahead.
I don't know if he did enough, though, because in the grand scheme of things, I feel that those Roaches were kind of not doing very much. Once they got into the base, they did kill a small handful of workers, but if we look at the worker skill tab, there's 6-0.
Yeah.
It's always nice killing off the Terran's workers, though, because it's like it takes them much longer to replenish, but at the end of the day, was it a blow that could give him a significant advantage going to the mid-game? If we look at the supply tab, it says no. And we still have a lot of mules because he did go for 3 CC.
That is very true. The mules will probably make up the difference in the workers until Avocado, manages to catch up again. And he does still have a little bit of potential to do mid-game aggression. He has 2 Banshees up, which can sort of fly around untouched until they get to bases where the Queens and the Spores will be doing the best they can to ward them off. And
yeah, man.
With the third for Quirrell only now coming up, and the 3rd command center for Avocado already done his naturals fine. You are right. It does look like Avocado got the better of this trade.
Yeah, man, and just look at the supply tab right now with those 3 SCVs being made at a time. If this was a 2 command center play, it would have been a lot better. But considering that 3rd command center, which is an orbital, which can produce SCVs, it's just that Avocado is starting to go into this massive macro mode, and I feel that he is preparing for mid-game timing. And we'll lose 1 Banshee. Bit of a misplay there from Avocado, but you can't have everything, to be honest, Ryder.
No, well, I mean, you can if you're amazing, but...
oh, yes, but...
It's very hard to do both the macro as well as Avocado is doing, which I think he's doing a fantastic job at, and being able to control your units in such a way that, you don't really lose anything ever. I think that's a pipe dream. It's the ideal we strive for, but we'll probably not achieve.
Yeah, he has shown his hand, though, by saying that, hey, I make siege tanks, they're pretty good now, so...
Yeah.
Says hello, so I think we'll see a lot of, like, Marine tank going into this mid-game.
Yeah, and I think that's probably how we're going to see the meta in TVZ evolve over time. I think right now Terrans are playing with mines mostly because that's what they've done so far, that's the timing they know, and mines are still viable. But I think this is a sort of style that we're just going to see added in more. At least that is my hope, because tanks are very, very good, and they're even better now, and they're even better in comparison to mines than they were. So there's every reason to try to start using some of these.
You know what I feel is going to happen in like the later parts of Heart of the Swarm when it comes to this particular matchup?
What's that?
I think we're going to see a few Widow Mines sprinkled in, because Widow Mines are hidden. It forces detection. So while Zergs may tend to not bring in detections, by having the Widow Mines there and just running behind your tank line, using the tanks to actually funnel in the banelings and stuff, keeping as many Marines alive as possible, you have all those Widow Mines which will pop as well. And with the new changes with the spread, the Widow Mines, they'll do a decent amount of damage to the Zerg army, and the tanks can actually help finish off the army. So while I do feel that tanks are going to become a bigger part than how Widow Mines were, I still feel that if you want to be smart, just sprinkle in a few Widow Mines here and there and profit.
Absolutely. I'm also wondering if the change to the upgrades is going to affect the later stages transition of Terrans. As in,
Battle cruisers.
Well, getting an armory and just getting some upgrades. It's going to benefit these air units. It is going to help your tanks, And it's just going to set you up very, very nicely for a later game transition into, as you say, battle cruisers or any other more mech-heavy composition. Thors are a really great addition to your army composition, even if you're going for a mostly marine tank composition. They help with dealing with mutalisks. They're very, very good against roaches, actually, if you can keep them alive. And it's just getting that mech upgrade as Avocado is actually doing right now. It opens up a lot of possibilities without being too much of a distraction from the things you want to do anyways.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I think this particular matchup is going to become very, very interesting. Like a normal bio tank opening into the mech play, and it looks like Avocado wants to snipe that fourth hatch. These mutalisks are out of position, but they're going to go straight for this third. Like, they've got a pick of which base they want to kill. Lings are coming in to try and save the fourth, though, behind this. But guess what? The funnel is too strong. And meanwhile, Avocado does take some hits in his main. We're up to 14 workers killed, and he can just swoop into this third if he wants to. And meanwhile, there's a massive force pushing across the field. Where are the Banelings? There are the Banelings that connect with most of the tanks. The tanks get cleaned up, but what's Aquarel gonna do about this Bioforce?
Yeah, this was Avocado putting pressure on 2 points, and Querl trying to defend on 2 fronts and attacking into Avocado's main. And both players are just stretching each other very, very thin.
Dude, Avocado's going for the victory march play. He's in the spirit of bomber is in him. He sniped the Roach Warren. He's gonna snipe this third. He's already sniped the fourth. Where are the Banelings at, Querl?
They are nowhere to be seen. There's 2 hatches up for Querl, and this looks to me like the game played by a man who has both hands in his hair. There come the mutalisks, but it's all Marine Town, and there Avocado takes the game convincingly. All of a sudden, overwhelming strength all across the map. It was pretty much the perfect play. I would say.
Yeah, man. I mean, Avocado, he just like flipped that kill switch and just went one could say all in, because even though the metas were just attacking him, he saw that his opponent had nothing, and he's like, you know what? You have nothing. I'm gonna run in with everything and kill you outright. I've sniped your fourth. I'm gonna kill off your third. Where are your Banelings, bro? You have none. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, it was a very good setup for Avocado. Like the drop was dropping your opponent and killing off a hatcher is good. He was on 3 bases versus 3 bases for a while, so he did actually have an amazing economy for the longest time. So he did have the forces to just start that pain train as soon as he sensed weakness, and when the mutas were in his base, that's pretty big weakness. I think he might actually have been trying to pull the mutalisks away from his base. But that didn't happen. Querl kept his mutas trying to harass Avocado, and that meant that the tanks did get picked off. But there was just nothing but a lot of Zerglings, a few Banelings against a lot of Marines, and that was just not his engagement to take.
Yeah, like this is an example of when to like commit with like mutalisks, like getting the correct ratio of mutalisks and banelings, because if you invest in one, you have to like sacrifice for the other until your third base and even your fourth base really kicks in. So in this particular case, having too many mutas just didn't prove to be the right choice.
Yeah, pretty much. You gotta be so careful. You can't just go for a lot of drones and hey, let's make some units and put pressure on, especially on a map as big as Star Station. Because the attack can come at any time, and you gotta have the forces. Either you have to have the economy and the setup to the units as the force is moving across the map, or you have to have the units ready already.
Yeah.
And Avocado or Querl, he didn't have the setup. He didn't have the units. He had a lot of mutas, but a lot of mutas won't defend your base against a lot of Marines.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, this is why Marines they're a very, very strong unit. It's a unit you have to respect no matter what you think about it. It's a unit that's very, very round, very cost efficient, and they're very, very good against air.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually kind of interesting that the Terrans have this very, very cost-effective unit in the Marine that is only minerals, that deals very, very well with the Zerg's gas-heavy unit, the Mutalisk.
Yeah, man. Not just Mutalisk. They deal pretty well versus Hydras. They don't trade extremely efficiently, but still, at the end of the day, you're trading minerals for a unit that costs both.
Yeah. And that's a good trade any time of the week.
Oh yes, it's always a good trade. But this is also the double-edged sword of Terran because they're so very mineral dependent.
Yeah.
And they don't really have gas units to go to. Like, every race has the gas unit. Like, how many Terrans, honestly, you know that choose to go for the Raven? I only know of one guy which does that a lot, and that's Katrok. But other than him, I do not know anybody that prefers, like, hey, I'm going to go Ravens, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
But you know what, Ryder? Now with the changes, though, I could see Ravens becoming a thing because the mech changes.
Mm-hmm.
That would make. I think it actually upgrades the turrets on the guns, those little guns which you can throw down.
I think they have their own separate upgrades.
So, but no. The that's the timer. I'm talking about like damage and armor. Like I know the armor is related to building armor.
Yeah,
but
building armor.
yeah, let's just throw up that video, bro.
Yes, let us indeed. So close to loading.
Yes, indeed, man. So close, but so far. Man, that's never far. Why are we in slow? What the hell?
Oh, somebody oopsied. That's okay.
Yes.
That happens.
But to be honest, whoever was the host can just like increase the speed, like by pressing plus.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason to actually leave a game.
Oh well, I'm not
man.
sure. It used to be for a while that it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And habits are hard to
But then
break.
remember that GSL where it was like parting versus life, and somebody pressed the minus button
Yeah.
in the ace, and like parting could micro a lot better. But now they've changed it, folks. So if anybody changed the speed, it actually hear the game announcer saying that speed increased or decreased, and yeah.
That's okay. It happens. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we've come a long way since the original Wings of Liberty. I mean, remember
yeah.
back in the day when you couldn't like resume from replay and stuff?
Yeah, it was,
how big was that upgrade?
Yeah, it was, you know, oh crap, your game crashed halfway through. That's too bad. You're gonna have to play it again.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do it in a tournament setting. Holy cow! But
Yeah.
you know, now it's just, oh yeah, we'll just continue where you were, and that's amazing.
You know which game which I remember, like which the game which has like it screams resume.
Mm-hmm.
It was Squirtle versus Marine King Prime at IPL for the Team League final. I think that was the GSDL final, or that was the IPL Team League final. It was one or the other. And oh my god, it was just heartbreaking because Squirtle had destroyed Marine King, but right before, like literally before he killed him outright, the game crashes. Oh, so much rage was had that day because it was like you could tell by the graph that there's like this huge fall, right? And it's like the stock market had crashed or something, and it's like, damn, son.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty painful.
yep. Zato versus who's gonna be versus Ryder?
I saw it, but I didn't remember the name. I just saw and acknowledged that it was the name.
Yeah, man, we're not Fort Minor fans. We don't remember any names.
No.
So, yep, no names to be remembered.
And apparently, according to a Jukarji, I look like Kilaris, and the son of Apollo and Kilaris.
Wow. I didn't even know that was possible, but okay.
Now I'm getting hippie version of Luke Skywalker. Well, thanks, guys.
Wow. So this is Luke. You're Luke Skywalker if you got high?
Yeah. I mean, maybe power converters is slang. You ever thought about that?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick
Hey
up some
guy, wanna hit the
power converters.
converters?
Oh my goodness. All right, so we're getting ready to set up the regame of this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we got like who's sorry, I have to like log into Twitch because apparently I logged out. So yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Oh man, don't scare me like that, bro.
Sorry.
Scare. Somebody BBQ. I know that his name ended with BBQ. Said that it's not. Oh, anyway, just throw up the music video, and I'll explain when we get in there. Which we did so so fast.
Wow, kablam, we're here. All right, in the top right corner in the blue pieces, we have our Protoss player from Team Alloy. It is Xado.
Yes, and we're derping all over the place while trying to answer questions in the chat. Answer. How do you answer an answer? But Darkstar Shadowlock always tends to bottom left-hand side, green trunks, Terran player.
Blam. There, done. That's all the things I have to say about this player.
Yeah. And really quickly, there was a dude in the chat which mentioned how it's not strange to see Ravens in the late game in Terran versus Zerg, which is true. We have seen MVP do it in the past, but it's not really a thing that you see on a constant basis. It isn't as usual as, oh, he made a Marine. That's just so normal.
It's so weird. We never see Marine. No, it's we do see them in the super late game, but it generally never actually gets there, even if the game goes for longer. So it's not like, you know, we first go for Marines, and then we add in mines, and then we add in medevacs, and then, you know, we get up to that 3-3 upgrades, that sort of standard progression from one thing to another. And then Ravens, that's not really how that goes. You know, they might be mixed in, but it's not as much of a staple, I feel. Of course, that might all change with the more mech-heavy compositions becoming the norm. I can actually see Terran players in the later stages sort of transition from bio into mech, as that is a bit more of a cost-effective...
To be honest, I feel that they'll go into Sky Terran, like, they'll slowly start sacking their bio units. They may keep some of the tanks, but stop or slow down tank production, and then just go total air with a mass swell of Vikings into a few battle cruisers and Ravens.
Yeah.
And of course, Poison TV did mention that medevacs are pretty gas intensive. That is true, but once you get beyond 2 bases and you get those 3rd and 4th bases up and running, as a Terran player, you just end up with so much gas.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you have always have the amount of all of your geysers taken for all of the bases, and you just crank it out, then you are going to build up some of that gas. And you know, you want to have medevacs with your army, but you want to think about the ratio. You don't want to have a medevac for every bio unit in your army, because your army is going to be pretty weak, even though it's going to be very hard to kill. It's just not going to do a lot of damage. And that's something you have to consider when you look at what unit is a gas dump. For Protoss, a gas dump unit would be a Sentry early on, and then later on a High Templar. And that's a great unit to have more of, either as the High Templar or to morph into Archon.
That probe. Shh, it's secret. And apparently I look like a president talking to a nation. Thank you, Aji Crazy, for that.
Well, you do have something royal about you, I must say.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for that. And if Luke Skywalker was a gamer, he would be you. That is true. He would be you, Ryder. And it looks like Xado has gotten in a scout, and he's like trying to keep this probe a secret. I think that Shadowlock may know what's up, but this probe is most probably just going to try and make its way into the main base, have a good scout up. But we do have a Marine, I believe, or a pair of Marines, which are now down in the natural. They're not going to scout the probe, though, Ryder.
No, I think Shadowlock is his attention is divided between macroing and trying to keep these Reaper alive for as long as humanly possible. Reaper getting in for the 3rd time, I think, already. Gets a good scout around, sees all 3 pylons, which is you know, the biggest thing you want to check for. Don't want to have any proxies happen. Scans out the Nexus.
Oh, it stops. Oh, that probe, man. Its paint job has been scarred quite a bit, but makes its way out. This Reaper is really starting to pay for itself, Ryder.
Yeah, especially since it has gotten away. And of course, one of the other jobs, it keeps the Stalker and the Mothership Core for Xado at home, because if they stray too far, then this little guy will come in and do a lot of pain.
I got a question, though. Is that probe out of the vision of the command center?
I think it is, yeah. Yeah, the vision only reaches so far. And
Yeah, I think at
Shadowlock-
least till
the
the gas
Reaper might
guys-
actually see it though, if it decides to
No,
jump
he's
up.
just. Oh, if he jumps up, that'll be the biggest twist since M. Night Shyamalan started directing.
I don't know, man. That's a pretty big twist he's got.
Everything is a twist with M. Night Shyamalan, man. He might as well get a beard and start twisting it.
This Reaper
And
is,
then you know what the twist will be? Like the real twist? You'll be like, this isn't even my beard. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, and then everybody will be like messed up. But this Reaper, man, it should like just take up residency in the Protoss base and be like, you know what, guys, I prefer being in your base. This neighborhood is better than mine, man. North side better than south side. But guess what? Pylonery.
Yeah, a pylon that's not being scouted. This is a... I actually didn't know this is a great position to hide a little pylon out here. The Marines out here not even
They're
close
just
enough.
out of vision. They're just literally out of vision. Oh, the Stalkers, they want in. Takes quite a bit of damage, a little bit of hull damage as well. And Zato is just, he's primed for this timing, but I'm not sure how much damage it'll do, to be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't actually seem to be in a position to commit too many resources to it, as he's going for the Colossus, which is pretty expensive considering how quickly he expanded, all of the other things he's trying to get at the same time. However, if Shadowlock
he's warped.
decides to go for
Never
a
mind.
push here with the Stim, then that puts his army way out of position to deal with this.
He can see the pylon.
He can?
Shadowlock can see the pylon now.
Oh yeah, the gas geyser is actually in range. Yeah.
He's like, what the hell? What are you doing here? Get off my property. And, oh.
Yeah, so this pylon
boy.
would have been fine if it was a gateway heavy play, but it's a Colossus and a Forge. It's standard, so it doesn't do anything. It's a little bit of a bummer, but that's fine. Shadowlock managed to pick it off a little bit of a win for him there. And, you know, as things are going now, this is... Zato is fine. He's getting up everything that he wants to. Shadowlock is in a position where he's probably going to want to put on a little pressure. Medifacts are coming out right now, so they will be invaluable to this this push here. No range for the Colossus.
Which is really weird. I mean, maybe he's cutting a corner, maybe he's messed up, and he's actually getting a cannon. It's behind the mineral line, though.
More
This is
gateways.
kind of weird, because normally you'd see cannons if you go the High Templar route straight
Yeah.
off the bat.
This is actually
But-
looking like he wants to go for High Templar, but he forgot about the Twilight Council. That's what this looks like right
Yeah.
now. Oh, Reaper
Yeah, this is
only
like he's
now,
trying
guys.
But you know, this is actually smart because, right? Oh, actually, without that extended thermal lance, this play is going to be quite limp. And nice zoom out, we can see everything, and the overcharge forces these units away. Overcharge actually is really, really good at key, you know, defending your bases.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty crucial. There's a lot of
Then
timing.
you know what's really awesome?
What's that?
Sending a factory, and he's probably going to land it at the northern position, which
Yep.
he does.
We will know exactly when a third will go down, but right now Shadowlock has this game. He's got this position in a tight pincer, and only now Zato is getting the Twilight Council very, very late. Probably would have liked to get that earlier, especially since he's not getting another Colossus. He is building up a nice gas bank, but it seems like Zato is slowly but surely getting more and more behind in this game, and Shadowlock really is in a position where he's getting the third up. He's got a nice little bio ball here. He's got the +1 already done, which +1 is on the way for Zato. Oh, more bio going to pick off a few sentries. That's nice. Nice little pick off.
Oh, that's really, really nice. And oh, even waste some energy at the very end right there. Zato is getting pressured quite a bit by this.
Yeah, it looks like Shadowlock knows what he wants, and he knows how to execute this very, very well. And Zato is just forced to respond, and it's looking like he's a bit out of his element at this point. With the build going the way it has, and you know, the little poke and prod's actually doing a lot more damage than he really would like.
Even that Twilight Council, I mean, he's not really researching +2. Obviously, +1 is still being researched, nearly completed, and only now he gets up that Templar Archive. So I feel that the Reaper may have thrown Zato completely for a 6.
Yeah, this might have been the Reaper's fault. That Reaper is probably the most valuable Reaper ever. For a Reaper
Yeah.
that didn't actually kill an entire mineral line.
Yeah, man, it's like, you know, if you're playing Zerg versus Zerg and you're going for a rush tactic, like, alright, I'm gonna go 2 base, speedling all in,
Yeah.
and then you see your opponent drone scout and you're like, what the hell is this? It's like, who drone scouts, man? This guy, and he pretty much wins because it's like my build is like scouted, or I have to deviate. So it's like it's a very uncomfortable position when you get scouted.
Yeah, you can actually see that this game, the supply counts. Now it is true that Terran normally will be a bit ahead of
Yeah.
the Protoss, but this is by 60 supplies so far. This is just so far in Shadowlock's favor.
And guess what? Zato, he's supply blocked only now, getting at the pylon, and also he only has the one Colossus.
Ouch.
So only one unit providing him that splash damage. It's just not enough, Ryder.
Yeah, and Shadowlock is being very, very cautious. He does not want to overcommit his units into a position where he might potentially lose a lot of them, and that's what tends to be the case when you're up against a Protoss player. You have to be so careful that you take only the engagement which you are sure you can get that little win. But I think Shadowlock at this point, he's giving his opponent more credit than is due.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's actually costing him a little bit, because he probably could have stimmed and win a little earlier if he hit that timing, because there's only one Colossus. There's nothing but Zealots here, and he's got a pretty good Bioforce that could probably match with this. But the longer this game is going to go, the better it's going to be for Zato, who's going to have Storm, he's going to get Templar up.
Oh, there is a drop in the main, and this Colossus is trying to be brought down, takes quite a bit of damage, and it looks like Shadowlock's making a beeline straight for that Templar Archives, but no, he stops attacking it, just gonna attack the mineral line, and do as much damage as possible, picks off an Archon, and I think that's gonna be the end for that aggression. And you know what? I feel that Shadowlock, his plan is, I'm gonna get all the upgrades I need, gonna get the production, gonna even try and secure our 4th base, and then once I max out, I'll just keep training my army. And since my opponent is only on 2 bases, I'll just be trading better at the end of the day. Or he's like, I think my opponent is Protoss, he's Imba, and I'm just gonna be as patient as possible.
Well, it's not a bad idea to just be very, very patient about a Protoss player. It's a little bit, you know that expression that, actually that's a Dutch expression, that probably doesn't work in English. I'm not even going to try. There's an expression we have that, a cat driven into a corner will make odd leaps, something along those lines. And, and the same thing is true for Protoss. If you push him with a back into a corner, he might just lash out at you and all in, and then, Protoss all-ins are pretty strong, even if Protoss has been behind for a lot of the game. Oh, that Colossus is gonna fall.
Yeah, that is literally the only thing. Well, actually, now there's a High Templar or 2 that may have energy to throw down some storms. But I feel like Shadowlock, I get the feeling he's not playing as fast as he normally could. Like, it just seems like he could be doing more with what he has. And as you can see, the mineral bank, it's just skyrocketing right now. And I just feel that he would... Normally, you'd expect a couple more command centers to come down, transition into... sacking a lot of your SCVs as you go into this late game situation, but right now he's just playing, I don't know, man, like, I get the feeling that he has had his share of Protoss, which have made him like flip his table, and here we go, big engagement, a lot of these High Templar are going to the front, and all the storms, they don't exactly seal the deal, and now the choke actually favors the Terran player here, and the Protoss player here is in dire straits. The supply continues to... it's plummeting, man. It's plummeting faster than the New York Stock Exchange at the turn of the century.
Yeah, Shadowlock is in a fantastic position. That was a good engagement. He got to pick off a lot of high-value units and retain so much of his army, and that is really what's allowing him to do this push. The storm is not great, but at least it's a storm. It's kind of like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's kind of good, but... This army is just probably too much to deal for with Zato, who falls to 60 supply. Good split away from that storm. The Photon Overcharge, is it going to be enough to hold off? Or is this going to be...
I don't know, man. Like, even if this isn't it, it's just there's so much damage that's been inflicted by Shadowlock right now, and he is currently on 3 bases while his opponent is still just on the 2, and I feel that Shadowlock's macros slipped quite exponentially there, but I think he's done so much damage.
Yeah, this was a great engagement for him. If we actually look into the main of Zato, we can see that these mineral patches are about to expire. The natural is getting pretty thin. He does not have the 3rd because it got denied. And Shadowlock is he's probably smiling to himself, I'm probably going to win this game. And you want to be careful about that, but that's pretty much what this is.
Yeah, I mean, he's done
Oh.
just such a great job. He shouldn't really go a bit too crazy with those command centers at this point, as his mineral bank is depleted quite a bit.
Yeah.
He is floating in that command center down south, and fortunately for him, this particular Protoss isn't going to go for the Dark Shrine, even though he's quite behind.
Yeah, and that's actually not that odd because he's been in a tough economic position as it is, trying to do 2 base Templar against 3 now almost 4 base.
All
Terran.
EMPs.
All the EMPs getting
Nice
actually good
EMPs.
hits on the Archons, which are big heavy hitters. If you manage to pick those
Oh,
up,
brings in SCVs. They need to fight. Fight SCVs. Kill the Archons.
Yeah, this engagement is really just on Shadowlock's terms in every respect. He's gonna be able to charge in through the naturals non-existent. I think there's the GG well played. Shadowlock takes game number 4.
Yeah, Shadowlog he played really, really well. Sure, he could have killed his opponent a bit earlier, but he took his time though, and I feel like he took too long to really secure his 4th. Like, if I'm honestly gonna fault him at all, I just say that 4th just, in my opinion, took a little too long. But once he did go in, he went quite deep, and yeah, took the game. And oh snap, Team Darkstar bringing in a Grandmaster Zerg player, so this is really interesting.
Is this someone you know? Because he's a barcode to me.
Yes, I think this is Druids. I can't remember. Dax, I think? This is a former Druids player. I think this is Dax, if I'm not mistaken. And he made it to Grandmaster, which is quite surprising. And Juiced being the final player, I think this is game number 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. This is the final
Yep.
match. And Darkstar so far 3-1 with Alloy. Looking in a great position. If they can actually get 2 more points, then Team Love Your Girlfriend will today. They will have taken... They will at least equalize.
I think they have.
They might actually take the top spot in the Top Dog EU League. Let's go to that awesome leader video. Oh yes, we are on Frost, and in the top left corner we have our Grandmaster player. In the green trunks as our Zerg player, it is Bar.
Yes, Mr. Barr, and his opponent spawning at the bottom.
Who is from the Netherlands. In the cyan trunks, it is the Zerg player from Team Alloy. It is Juiced.
Yes, it is.
I will tell you what that means after the cast.
Alright, so apparently that's quite inappropriate, Ryder.
It's
but
a
I'm
little
glad
bit.
that we can talk about it afterwards. So, yep, going into this game, you get 1 bonus point, I think, if you win 3 games, right? And if
Yes.
you win 4 games, you get an extra bonus point.
Is that so?
Actually no.
I thought it was just
wait.
after if there's more
3
than a
games is
2-point
a bonus.
difference, then you get the overwhelming victory bonus point.
Oh yes. And right now they're on the precipice of that overwhelming victory, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because this is the final game. They've won the last 4 games on the trot, I believe, with Multi being the only one to drop a game.
Yeah, so it's
And
3-1.
which was
right
a
now.
really good game.
Yeah.
It was a good game at the beginning. And
Both players.
this is gonna be
Both players opening up with a pool first. Very interesting. This is a big map,
on
and
the snap.
a hatch first is pretty safe against a lot of openers, and especially because it's also a 4-player map. It's puzzling to me why they would go for such a very
Actually,
safe
I
play.
think I know why.
What's that?
I think I know why. It's the bridge, man. The 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock
Oh,
bridges.
yeah.
Like, if you manage to get that magic scout, it's like the rush distance is actually not that great if you take the shortcut
Yeah.
straight through, and could turn out to be quite detrimental, to be honest. So yeah, I think this is okay for both of these players. They want to play it safe. This is the final game. This is for all the enchiladas. With Team Alloy not wanting to give away that bonus point, they want to secure the point for themselves. Make sure that they're just not going to be so far adrift in terms of the rankings.
Yeah, and Team Alloy does have a tough road ahead, being I think at the bottom of the league at this point. I did recall that they were one of the lowest players in the ranking at this time, so they really want those extra points, and I don't want Team Darkstar to extend that lead any further if they can help it. So it makes all of the senses. Of course, nobody wants to lose in a ZVZ by getting 6 pooled in the last game of the set. That is painful.
That is indeed painful. Like that's something which you're like impossible as your entire base is getting clawed to death. So yeah, you don't. That's never a good feeling.
No, absolutely.
Even if you're doing it to somebody else, that's never a good feeling.
No, you want the last game to be awesome.
Aji Crazy says this is not Dax, so I apologize to Mr. Barcode. I don't know who this guy is, man. Or maybe I do know who he is, and I just can't believe it. So, no, I honestly don't know who this gentleman is, and props to him, man. Getting into Grandmaster is no easy feat.
Yeah, especially with the MMR decay, it's even harder than it already was.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think for Grandmasters, the decay is much more severe than with normal masters.
Well, yeah, I think they already have. Well, they don't actually. Excuse me, they don't have the MMR. They didn't have the MMR decay. They had a point decay where if you don't play, if your bonus pool gets too big, you get kicked out anyway. So I think if you want to be Grandmasters, you're gonna play every waking moment as it is.
Yeah, which is good because you want only the professional players or like the geniuses to really play in. Interesting wall-off here from the Zerg player in the green trunks. For a second I was like, oh, it's a Zerg player. Wait, which one? So it's the one in the green trunks.
The one from Team Darkstar. Looking like he wants to get himself up Roach Warren and start to do some one... No. Okay, so this is... He's going to go for some Ling aggression, I feel.
Yeah, Juiced is also setting up his own aggression, man. He's got a huge swell of Zerglings making their way across the field. This is really good timing attack, although I feel his opponent... The question is the barcode going to be ready for this? And I've got a feeling yes.
Yeah, it does look like it. He does not have a Veiling Nest, though.
I kind of like this style. I don't think so.
No, only Juiced has a Baneling Nest right now, so that means that Darkstar's player is going to have to hold it with the Queens, with the Evo Chambers, the Spine, and with some ungodly Zergling micro against these Banelings from Juiced. This could be a tough hold. This is a very strong... Oh, and he pulls back the Queens! This is the terrible time to pull it back. The Banes get picked off by the Spines, but that's a lot of workers that go down. And these Zerglings in the main.
Oh, he's gonna pick off the hatchery. This is so massive if he can actually kill it. Everything's been pulled. A desperation act by the green Zerg player, and in the end he holds. He holds strong, but guess what? Round 2, all the Lings making a beeline. They want this hatchery. They need this hatchery to justify the investment. And oh, nice transfuse goes down. As the last transfuse has gone down, the hatchery still stands tall.
Wow, and because Juice did not pick off the hatchery, this was a terrible loss for him. If he would have gotten it, this could have ended the game. That's a lair.
Yep.
That is a nearly finished lair that he managed to pick off, but it wasn't to be.
He's going again. But he can't really do much because there's enough queens over here. And oh, he tries to make a beeline. Oh, but there's just not enough right now.
There's just too much HP.
Low. Yeah. Not to mention that the extra pooper queens will be used to transfuse this lair, and it looks like Juiced has forced back this little bit of aggression from Darkstar's player. He can't really commit to this because he doesn't have his own Baneling Nest, though. And more Banelings being made by Juiced. He wants to go in. He knows that he has, technically speaking, an advantage, but his opponent is getting up that Spire.
Yeah, and that's going to swing it into his favor. And if Juice doesn't have his own lair up at least,
nice.
Then that's going to give Darkstar's player such a big window to get into this game and use those Mutalisks to do all of the damage.
Greedy.
Deny third bases.
He's going for a third. Oh, he's going to try and force his way into the main. He's made his way into the main, going straight after the lair. Yet again, the lair has been transfused once, and there's just not enough Lings over here to kill it off. But the third... I don't think it'll be denied, to be honest, Frider, and I think that Juiced, he's kind of all over the place right now. I think he's juiced up quite a bit beforehand, and no more Lings about to make their way into the main. He really wants to kill that lair, but the question is, I don't think that it's good enough right now.
Yeah,
like right now, the lair is kind of paid for itself.
Yeah, in addition to being all over the place, I think Juiced at this point is all in the place. He's got to kill that hatchery, or he is dead. He's done nothing but produce Zerglings for the last 5 minutes of the game, and
Oh, this is so smart. He's getting up a macro hatch, and he's going to try and just pump out as many Zerglings. But he has messed up his transfuse timings, though, as one of the queens was quite high at... Oh, nice pullback from Barcode. Could have been really bad if he ran into those Banelings.
oh yeah, that's a lot of Zerglings, and the Banelings would have devastated that. It's a good micro back and forth. Darkstar's player trying to get the very best engagement he can possibly get, fighting only with a portion of juiced Zerglings at this point. But it's the Mutalisk follow-up that's going to be the real stickler for this. The third base is already up for Darkstar's player, giving him the 6 geysers that he needs to produce so many mutas. The spores are coming up from juiced, and I'm not sure he's going to have the answer to this.
Yeah, man, I think that his window of opportunity has slowly closed, as if he had actually brought in those initial Banelings to the main and just like said, screw the natural, I'm going straight for the main, he would have brought down that lair, because Banelings do a surprisingly high amount of damage versus buildings.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Yeah.
They do, does it say? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it
80
does.
damage to structures.
Yep,
That's
which is
so much damage.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, another engagement, Juice, this time engaging with the superior link count, but there comes Mutas, and this is
Yeah.
going to be his ticket to get the heck out of here. He's going to counterattack, which is going to pull the Mutas away from his main, giving Juice a
but
little bit of
right now-
opportunity.
Just look at the supply tab. It's slowly just gonna go one way, and that is in favor of Barcode. And he's gonna go after that again. I think that he's been chasing the Magic Dragon a bit too far, and in this case, he's not gonna catch it, man.
No, I think this is the hopes of Juiced in this game, slowly petering out. That's a lot of Banelings that had to be cancelled or were destroyed. We will never know, because for some reason killing morphing Banelings refunds the money to the player who owns it.
Yeah, but only so much, though. You only get 19
That's
minerals and 19 gas back. I think it's the same as if you cancel making a building or something.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly the same as cancelling it. But basically, there's no incentive to try and cancel the Banelings if you think they're going to be picked off, because it's going to be the same cost regardless. There come the Mutalisk and the Zerglings. The Zerglings are going to pick off the Spore. Mutas are going to pick off the Spore. And there's not
we
really
just don't
anything
care
here.
at this point.
No, there's so many of them here. Darkstar players off of 3 bases, all of the Mutas. Zerglings come in for juice, but with those bouncing glaives, this is going to get cleaned up so quickly. And I think this is the point where Juiced is going to have to tap out. This is his
he's
last
fought
vestige.
valiantly.
There's the GG, and Darkstar takes this team league 4-1. Congratulations to them. I think that means that, depending on the results for Team Love Your Girlfriend versus Non,
I heard it was 3-2.
that
in
means
the other
that
series.
Team Darkstar will be toe-to-toe, meaning that next week we will be able to see the exciting conclusion on Top Dog EU, sometimes referred to as Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
That was a pretty good series, Mish.
Yes, that indeed was a really high-quality series. We saw a Grandmaster player play really greedily, and with some top-notch control, he mitigated what looked like one of the biggest scares he ever saw, because that was an amazing play from Juiced right there.
Yeah.
If he had
Holy
sniped
cow.
that, God, it would have been so horrible.
Mish,
But
you know what?
yep.
You want to know something amazing?
What?
Guess how many more units the Darkstar player killed in that game?
How many?
Juiced, with his holidays attacking, he killed 73 units in that entire game. The Darkstar player killed 261 players and killed 26 structures. That is insane! That is an amazing disparity.
That is complete and utter insanity, man. Like, wow. Gotta say.
Yeah.
Gotta say, and apparently good pullback from Mr. Barcode. I'm getting a wow right there. Well, I don't even know his name, Mr. Fires Hard, so yeah, I honestly don't know his name.
Yeah,
If
we
I
don't
knew
know.
his
We
name,
were
I
told.
would like say so.
That's the
Yeah.
downside
Don't
of
blame
playing
us.
as a barcode.
Blame Blizzard. It's Blizz.
That's the downside of playing as a barcode, unless you tell everybody which barcode player you actually are. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody will be able to say your name. And, you can tell everybody, but that sort of defeats the purpose of being a barcode, I guess.
Yeah, so just for the purpose of color commentary, we just called him Mr. Barcode.
Yes.
It's kind of like how, Day 9 was like Billy the Marine, even though the Marines are nameless,
Yeah.
just prisoners and stuff. But it became a funny thing in like Pilo the Pylon. So we got Mr. Barcode. And, yep. I think we're kind of done for the day, are we?
Yes, I think we are. That's been a good series. I want to thank all of the viewers for tuning in and watching the two of us commentate these amazing games. I want to thank Top Dog, for Thunderdog eSports, for having us cast this. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you, Michigan, for being my support, my rock, and the best co-caster I probably could have wanted for.
Oh, I love you too, man. You are the wind beneath my wings, too, man.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll sing Celine Dion later. I'm sure that our audience will hate that, unless we do like a weekend drunk cast or something like that. And I will obviously be drunk on Red Bull because you can actually get pretty drunk on energy drinks.
Yeah.
So really quickly, just want to give, I think it's shout out time. So Ryder,
Yeah.
what shout outs do you want to give?
Well, I want to thank, again, Thunderdog Esports for having us cast this. Thank you, guys. You're amazing. I want to thank SCV Rush for giving me my first into casting. You can follow them at the SCV Rush. I want to thank you again because you also got me this gig. So, yeah, you're the man. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at RyderRockOn. You can follow me on Twitch. Same, RyderRockOn. It's down here as well. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you can... Yep. I too would like to thank the Thunderdog Esports League. You can follow those guys at tdog_esports on Twitter. You can also follow Team Darkstar at Darkstar_esports. And if you love the way that Alloy Esports play, these guys have got heart, Ryder. You can also follow them at Alloy Esports. And do follow me at the Mish King. And do check out my YouTube page where I'll be having stuff being added soon on YouTube. YouTube.com/pixel8d. That's pixelated. And yeah, I think that's all from my end. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, the audience.
Yeah, thanks to
covering
everyone who
us.
watched, thanks to everyone who played, and we hope you will tune in next week for the exciting conclusion of the Top Dog EU League. You don't want to miss that, because otherwise, why were you watching? Well, it's entertaining. I guess all there's left to say is goodbye, thank you for watching, until next time.
Oh God, I have something to say before
What's
we
that?
go off. Apparently, Aj Crazy in the chat has just explained that he's been called the Barcode for a while because he has difficulties deciding what nickname he should use in StarCraft 2, and he switched from Warcraft 3, and he has been laddering in the shadows and just decided he would stick to Vaunter. You will see our announcements soon when we decide his nickname. So his nickname hasn't been decided yet, guys. He's just the Barcode.
Magic.
So, yep.
All right,
Yep, that mystery has been solved.
all right, cool. With that, we close the stream. Goodbye, everybody. Tune in next week and stay esports or something. Yeah.